a returning quarterback, skilled receivers, and a stable of running backs, which we'll look at in a moment. So it makes for a perfect setting to break in a new offensive coordinator. We welcome Brandon Doman into our studios. It's a little different than you were here last. We were in the Harris Fine Arts Center.
I was just teasing you. I had to go through 4 layers of security to get in. This is beautiful. What a place.
Well, it reflects a little bit about where everything's going.
Yeah.
And obviously football is leading the way on this road to independence.
Well, with the capacity that this facility has, BYU TV, and I think the football program and the athletics, I think we're doing the right things.
You like your job? You're the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach.
I do. I love my new job. It's been a great opportunity to grow in these 4 months. But I think most importantly, I've enjoyed the new coaching staff that I'm working with and being with the players. And we have a real good senior leadership group too in this offense that's helping break me in.
Imagine you started calling plays in your head at Skyline High School, and then you get through it as a quarterback at BYU, and especially the last few years of, oh, I would do this or I would do that. Now you get that opportunity. What was spring like for you as you got to finally use that creativity a little bit?
You know, I think I'm a fairly intuitive guy. I knew that going into this, but I think as I get going into calling plays and watching the defense and getting a feel for where the offense is, at least through all the simulation I tried to do in spring of calling plays and seeing how I would do it, I think it'll be more off of field than anything.
Does it become more entertaining to you?
That spring game for me, it was a real game as far as I was concerned, and calling the plays and watching it, the changes of field position and situations during the game was quite fun for me. So I'm sure it'll be every bit as fun, a little more nerve-wracking, but pretty enjoyable.
The last few years we've watched you down in your quarterback's ear as he comes off the field. Where are you going to be in the fall?
Well, again, I think that's going to require a lot of simulation. I'll try both. In the spring game, I did the booth. During the scrimmages in the spring, I did the field. And so I think when we get into fall camp, I will hopefully get a couple more shots at the booth, a couple more shots at the field, and then we'll look at the strengths and weaknesses of our staff and of our team. You know, Jake's a fairly new quarterback. And then we'll decide where the most effective place is for me to be.
For an offense, and let's talk about that for a moment, how beneficial is it to have the right voice in your quarterback's ear as he comes off the field, as opposed to the right call coming from up in the booth?
Well, that's the one spot where you would like the practice field with the meeting room to directly correlate and transfer into the practice field, because everything that we're successful at on the practice field should go into the game on Saturday. But we always say if it doesn't happen in the meeting room, it's not going to happen at practice. And if it doesn't happen at practice, it isn't going to happen over in the stadium. And I would like that voice to be very constant. We try to do our very best to keep one voice, one consistent and constant voice for the quarterback, so he knows where to look, who's coaching him, the feedback is consistent, and I'd like that to transfer right over into the game. So right now, I would say I'm leaning to being on the sideline than I am in the press box, but that could change mid-game. I mean, who knows exactly what.
If we don't see you down there, we just may see you heading up.
I think I'll try both, and I'll eventually find my groove as a coordinator. I just don't know what that's going to be yet.
We'll see Jake Heaps on the show in a couple of minutes. I've been impressed by the maturity that he has undergone in just 12 months. How big of a difference is he?
Well, a lot of things have happened for Jake. He's grown spiritually. He's got he's had advancements in the priesthood, and everything for him is growing.
He's getting married.
Yeah, he's getting married now, and he's. I think for our fans that are watching this young man, you're seeing a young man that's now got more wisdom, and you don't have wisdom without knowledge and the application of knowledge, which is what he's now acquiring.
Mid-season last year, you kind of got more involved in the play calling, and I remember hearing you say, hey, we're throwing the ball down the field. And that seemed to change the whole scope of the offense, especially those last handful of ball games. Yeah. You got running backs coming back. You got a great stable of receivers. Is your vision to get out there and chuck it around, or what do you want to see?
Well, we do have some receivers we can throw it up to. Yeah. So, and we have a very strong core offensive unit of linemen. So I think as we explore those options, we'll certainly take shots during the game. I think our fans want to see us take shots. Our players want us to be aggressive. But it'll start with the offensive line establishing a real strong run game. And then we can branch off of that with play action, nakeds, boots, do all that stuff that I think the fans saw a lot in the early 90s and the 80s, which we've gotten away from a little bit, and I'd like to bring that back.
As an offensive coordinator, it must be quite intriguing for you to have a quarterback with some momentum and some experience and highly talented, as we've seen, and then you got a 6'5" receiver over here.
Yeah.
You got a 6'5" receiver over here, a couple of 6'5" tight ends.
Right.
Might be the biggest receiving core in the country.
Well, certainly are talented and big.
Yeah.
Now we've got to teach them all the details and get them to be masters of the craft, which they are not yet, but they're being taught to be masters of that craft. And if they can learn it, we're going to be really hard to stop.
What do you do over the summer months to get yourself ready for Mississippi?
Well, I'm not recruiting as much. I shouldn't say I'm not recruiting as much. I don't have as much responsibility in recruiting, and so it's allowing me now time to be with our offensive graduate assistants and spend time breaking down film, looking at our future opponents. We'll spend a lot of time on our first 3 opponents.
There's one young man on your offense that we'll see play on Saturday in the fall, and we'll go, wow, check this guy out. Who would it be?
Well, I think Josh Quezada
Yeah.
is going to become a really good running back here at BYU. We'll utilize him really according to his strengths. Then I think J.J. DeLuigi will be a guy that fans will appreciate this. Hopefully will resemble Matt Bellini in days of old. And I'd like to see him be a running back / slot receiver and utilize his talents, because he really is a talented guy that way. And then Josh Quezada is a Harvey Unga type of running back, and we'd like to use his strengths and get him enough whacks at, enough touches at the ball to where he can be a real productive, efficient running back in this offense for us.
You calm your quarterbacks down when they come off the field. You do a very good job at that because you've been there and you know the language. Or have you ever thought, hey, I'm the offensive coordinator, who's going to calm me down? Is it going to be Bronco in the headset going, hey, Brandon, turn it down a notch, or what?
Well, Lance Reynolds he's the veteran coach of the group, and as I was getting offered this job, he was one guy that I felt very confident and reassured really by taking this job that I would have the right mentors and people around me to give me success as a play caller. Also somebody that can stabilize me, calm me down. He's been around me for 6 years as a coach and, goodness, 4 years as a player, so he has a pretty good feel for who I am. And he can touch the right buttons and get me going or get me slowing down if needs be, and I'm grateful to have him.
Great, we're excited to see how you do.
Thank you very much.
Brandon
Appreciate
Doman, the pride of Skyline High School, offensive coordinator at BYU. Thanks for being here.